Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
All right, welcome into Woodward Nights, baby, on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate everyone who's tuning in right now. We've got a packed show for all of you guys here today. Appreciate it again. We've got a packed room as well here. My name, obviously, Booner. Matt Broder, Detroit Lions beat reporter.
Hi.
In the room. We've got Jalen over there in the TD booth.
What up?
We've got Nick over in the sound booth as always. We've got Pete.
What it is, boys. Back on. Let's go.
And we've got Pete chilling here in the Maz chair today.
That's right. What's up, boys?
Just-
They call me the white. They call me the white Brad Holmes in the heavyweight show. They over there.
They called you the
White Brad Holmes, baby.
That's pretty accurate.
There you go.
Over there doing some draft, studying up on some
And don't
draft.
forget to strike first and strike hard.
Cobra Kai.
Is that
Cobra Kai, man.
Okay.
Johnny's the best. Daniel LaRusso sucks.
Fun fact real quick. I didn't really know what Cobra Kai was. I bought a t-shirt.
I have no idea.
Because it has the Cobra on it. I thought I bought a t-shirt that was like the Mustang Cobra.
Shut up.
And then someone was like, oh, sweet Cobra Kai shirt. And I looked down. I'm like, dude, this is a Mustang. And they're like, no, that's
It's
Cobra
a sport
Kai.
version, Kai.
Yeah. So I bought a shirt not realizing exactly what it was. Was a little embarrassing at the time, not going to lie.
It happens. It happens. We all
not
those
gonna lie.
mistakes growing up.
Oh, yeah.
You live and you learn.
We always do.
Yeah.
Especially me. I'm always learning.
Booner, you're a learner.
I
That's
like
a good
taking
thing.
in
That's
information.
coachability.
I love being coachable.
That's you, baby, and
Right.
you're a coach.
Let's go. And I am a coach. That is confirmed. All right, we've got a packed show for you guys today. We've actually got a special guest that we just got announced. We've got a beat reporter over from Denver
And the
coming on at
Broncos.
9 o'clock. He will be joining us. It is Parker Gabriel from the Denver Post. I believe will be joining us at 9 o'clock to talk about this Detroit Lions versus Denver Broncos game. I was saying here, too, before we started, this might be the most nervous Lions game of the year for me besides week 1. And just because it is such an important game to keep things on track, because if you lose this game, you lose 2 in a row, you lose 3 of your last 4 games, you're going in, the division gets a little closer.
Nothing's guaranteed for the Lions.
Saturday is a big day for Lions
Huge.
fans. Huge. For the Booner Path, it is huge.
I wonder, before Saturday, we got to find out what the Lions' record on Saturday night games are. They couldn't have played many.
I don't know how many they've played, because that's a flex spot.
We'll see. But we're excited at Parker Gabriel, beat writer for the Denver Post, covering the Denver Broncos. It's going to be a good little segment there at 9. We're excited. 9 o'clock.
Should be exciting. 8:15, we're going to talk a little bit about some injuries. There's a couple reports. Someone actually added to it today, so I'm interested on that. We're going to talk a little bit kind of about this division title race at 8:15, and then we're going to get into some AG clips. He spoke with the media. I don't know if you guys remember last week when AG spoke to the media, but I did mention I felt like I was seeing through AG for a little bit. It felt like every week this defense was so bad, and it just felt like everything he was saying just was not true. Like he was just telling us, hey, I'm just going to tell them this just to get through this. Today he came out, felt very, very... I felt like we took a step forward here with this defense, the way AG spoke. So we're going to talk about that at 8:30. A lot of good videos. 8:45, we're going to start breaking down the Denver Broncos game before we have our guest on here, the beat reporter Parker Gabriel. 9 o'clock, we'll have him on. 9:15, we're going to talk about the Detroit Lions' final 4 games. Little record predictions.
Let's
too.
go. Let's go.
We've done that a few times. 9:30, we're going to do a temperature check. And then at 9:40, Ben Johnson was at the podium today. And he answered... If you guys have to stick around for 9:40 because he talked about Jared Goff and those turnovers. That I think is the most important thing that you guys want to hear today.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good one.
It is.
Before we get going, I have 2 things, so just let me know when you're
Hit
done.
us with it. What is it?
First, Freddie Felt. Shout out to you, everyone in the chat. If you want to give a like for Freddie. That everyone who was here for our draft last night, our inaugural draft, where we're gonna work out some kinks and we're gonna do something like that again. But man, Freddie really held it down for the chat. Shout out to you. And then Lorena Rios will do it again, but on Saturday it looks like it's your birthday, so happy early birthday to one of our favorite chat members, Lorena Rios.
Happy
Buenas
birthday,
noches, Lorena.
Awesome. Happy birthday. We appreciate you always tuning in and locking in with us. And shout out to Freddie too. That draft we did yesterday, that was something new we did. And we've talked about kind of making it maybe a little shorter, doing different things to it. And we're gonna keep doing some drafts, maybe get some graphics, just get the chat involved a little bit when we have a these Tuesdays and Wednesdays on game weeks get a little slow. So to do like a draft or something will help us out a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see Broder? And I know you actually sent me a message today about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, CD Deuce.
Yeah.
Did you see his post today? He had 2 different posts.
I saw one that I retweeted or quote tweeted, quote X, whatever we want to call it. I don't think there was one on Instagram.
So let's start with the first one. We've all been waiting for kind of an update on CD Deuce. I believe he may have been medically cleared. Jalen, if you want to throw, there's two up there. We could throw that one. So he put out an Instagram post that said he is back. Mask Menace returns. And then the other part of it was kind of a video.
Shout out Nolan, by the way.
Did Nolan on there?
Yeah, Nolan 201. Shout out.
And shout out. And then there's this to where kind of a little medical thing. It says clear. So CD Deuce, he may be good to go, Broder.
He might be.
What do you think?
I mean, I thought December 20th probably meant something to do with his return, and it turns out it's his birthday, so we have no idea about that. But to say clear, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else that could mean. Let's go. They didn't mention anything about that today. I don't believe.
I don't think it will be something.
I'll be down there tomorrow.
Keep an eye out the next couple days on if that 21-day window opens up.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to get a feeling within the next week, you're going to get an alert, and you'll get an email and a kind of an alert from the Detroit Lions saying C.J. Gardner-Johnson's 21-day IR window has just opened up, and he is ready to return to practice. And I'm waiting for that. And I know Dan even yesterday said something about it might not be till the end of December. I still think he has gotten cleared to come back to practice, and then first game back maybe like a Dallas at the end of December.
21 days from now would be the beginning of January, but yeah, it could match up. And Dave Campbell mentioned he's healing fast. Like Houston's doing great too, but C.J. Gardner-Johnson's kicked it into overdrive, and he's just healing fast. So I think he's a little more optimistic about CD Deuce.
Just don't want him to return too early, personally. Like I don't want him to return and then get hurt. Like I want him to be back, and not just this year. Like the post. I guess
extend the man.
I didn't get your tweet.
That's okay.
I got his tweet, but you did tweet at him, not at him, but you quoted his tweet of this tweet that he put up. Jalen, if you want to throw that tweet up, because CD Deuce is out here defending the Detroit Lions.
This is what you want in your teammate. Is this not?
It is exactly what you want.
This is Cam Newton. I didn't mind Cam Newton's interview. Like, it didn't seem like he was taking shots. He was just kind of giving his opinion. He said, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, and Tua are game managers.
Yep.
I believe this is responding to Cam. If Cam talking about JG, which he was talking about Jared Goff, then what are you? Last time I checked, you couldn't manage a game. Stop coming for my QB. Bring me on so we can talk Funky Wednesday. I don't know what Funky Wednesday is.
I think that's when they maybe film, or that's like something with Cam's.
Yeah, so I think it ended good. Hey, bring me out. Hey, don't talk about my guy GG, but bring me on. Let's chop it up.
That gives me a little bit of faith in Jared Goff. That guy, and I know it's public, but
whatever it takes.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson did not have to tweet that. He could have just left it alone.
Yeah.
He didn't have to go out there and defend. It's not like he got asked a question at a press conference and he had to just do a political right answer and say, "Oh, Jared's my guy." He went out of his way to defend his guy on the other side of the football and his leader. And I think that's kind of a positive. And then Lions fans, some of you are probably going to hate this. That shows that Jared Goff might get extended another couple years.
Yeah.
Because
maybe
the guys in the locker room like him.
Yeah, CJ, that's like the 2023 version of, and not to diminish anything D-Mac did, but like the 2003 version of D-Mac going after someone who goes after Steve Yzerman on the ice. He just coming, picking up his brother. It just happens to be on social media. But it's great to see C.J. Gardner, CD Deuce getting back involved with the team, even if it's over social media. He's starting to bring a little juice back. And
Has he been in Detroit working out?
He goes back and forth. I think he's been there often the last couple weeks. We don't get access to him. He's not in the locker room when we go in there. He obviously hasn't been practicing, so I don't know his schedule, but he's been around.
I would love him to come back. That would change this whole thing out. And when we actually at 8:30, when we talk about the defense and some of these clips that we have for the defense, your guys are going to that secondary's talked about a lot today. So having a guy like CJ back would change the confidence of this football team a lot. Other thing here, Broder, I'll let you take this one too, because the Detroit Lions re-signed a defensive tackle, and it looked like, at least I don't know, I haven't heard anything on it yet, but the picture I saw, it looks like you might know who this guy is.
Oh yeah, he was on the Lions earlier in the season through training camp, and actually through preseason. Through the first couple of games? But Quinton Bohanna, he was signed off the Lions practice squad by the Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
So he's moving on to Tennessee, and that happened because they didn't activate him for the game. If they activated him, they would need to sign him for the rest of the season. They chose not to, and he got sniped by the Tennessee Titans. Bohanna was actually playing pretty good in that defensive tackle position. So the Lions went and re-signed Chris Smith, former defensive tackle for the Detroit Lions. He actually played locally at Cranbrook High School. Then he went on to Harvard, and then he went on to Notre Dame and was having a really good training camp. He was also one of my players. I coached basketball in high school, or after I graduated, I came back and coached basketball. Chris Smith was a forward center on the team. You see him in the back, and you see me on the right. We were Catholic League champions. Chris Smith was the best teammate. He got hurt actually during the football season, so he didn't get to play this season. Was at every practice, every game, just the best teammate and captain you could ask for. And we was one of our best seasons in school history.
Look at you, man.
Yeah, so Chris Smith back on the Lions. It's just cool to see, like, someone you coached. I know it's a different sport. I had nothing to do with this football career, but a player I coached, he's now with the Lions. Very cool.
I'm just proud of you. You're following in Booner's footsteps, coaching basketball.
Oh, there we go.
I like that.
That's what we do up here, Booner.
I love it.
It's the coaching desk.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's sweet, though. That you're going to be in the building a lot, so you'll be able to see him. So have you already spoke with him, kind of reached out?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. So
he's probably pretty pumped.
He is. He's a very serious guy. Like,
what? I just want to know, like, the effect. Do you think he'll have an effect, or is he more of a practice squad guy? And I just want to kind of get a feel
I think he's more of a practice squad guy.
Okay.
He's still young. He's raw. John Scott and Aaron Glenn, actually, earlier in the season, they referred to him as a technician out there. He's very smart. He knows he knows what to do. He needs some time. He's more of like a Kalijah Cansey, not necessarily a Lee McNeil, but he's a smaller, quicker defensive tackle, but he's really big in the run game. He's good in run defense. We obviously need some more pressure on the quarterback, so I don't know if we're going to see him this year, but he can make a difference on the practice squad. I just don't know yet what they're looking for him. Yes.
I mean, that's just another piece to kind of add.
Exactly.
Before we do go to break here, one more thing I do want to mention. Kind of breaking news here, fellas. Not a lot of people have been talking about this, but guess what the Detroit Lions can do on Saturday? Detroit Lions can clinch a playoff spot this Saturday. I've got a graphic here that has a bunch of different scenarios.
I think I have it.
And there's a lot of different ones here. So you guys can, I'm not going to read all of them for you. I think the most important ones, because obviously I don't know if you're going to see a tie. I don't think the NFL has one this year. But if you look at 1 through 7 there, if the Detroit Lions win, there's a handful of scenarios for them to kind of clinch a playoff spot. Obviously, the first couple there, to me, it's really you either need Seattle to lose or the Rams to lose, and then you need a couple other things to happen on the other side there. I think that first one there might be the most realistic one. But I remember last week we talked about it. Some of these teams had chances to do it, and the Lions were one of the teams that did not. Now, finally, this could be the week you get in the postseason, fellas.
Yeah. And for those listening on audio only, it's the first one, we're not going to read them all, but Detroit wins and Seattle loses or ties, and Green Bay loses or ties, they clinch. There are 15 other ones there for you, so check us out on YouTube to see that graphic.
That first one could happen because Green Bay plays the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then Seattle obviously plays the Philadelphia Eagles. So this could happen this weekend. Your Detroit Lions could get a playoff spot as soon as Saturday night.
Moral of the story, they control their own destiny. They win out, they're in the playoffs. Probably if they win 3, they're in the playoffs, but
probably
just take care
win
of
2,
business.
you win the division.
Probably,
and we're going to talk about that next segment a little bit, the injury report, and we are going to talk about the division title. So let me tell you guys about Lady Jane's. Come over to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That is right. No expenses spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It is wicked awesome.
Also, if you're born in a cold winter basement in Detroit, 3 buddies wanting more out of rock, paper, scissors, dug deep and struck gold with Jack Labrador. With 2 new symbols and a 3-point play. Once you go Jack, you'll never go back. 1 deck of cards, 3 new games of nonstop action. It's the perfect no-brainer stocking stuffer of all ages. For all ages, excuse me. Just scan the QR code above or visit jacklabrador.com to get your deck today.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live this Saturday for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market. It's in shed number 5, and you know it's going to be a bash. It's going to start around 5:15, run up until game time, so you can come pregame with us, your friends here at Woodward Sports Network. We got food, we got drinks, we got entertainment. It's all included. It's a blast. Just get your ticket above at bullseyeeventgroup.com.
All right, welcome in to Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in here tonight with us. Beautiful Wednesday night. Couple more days until the Detroit Lions play. Pistons are on now, looking to kind of snap this 20-game losing streak. Not sure the score. I'm guessing they're losing, though.
We're losing.
I can guess they're losing. Real quick, too, before we get to this Lions news and all of that, breaking news, Draymond Green indefinitely suspended by the NBA right now, and with that as well, he's gonna go through some kind of form of counseling. I saw his agent Rich Paul has to kind of meet with the NBA this week and figure out kind of some counseling things. There's a lot. I don't want to get too deep into this because we have a whole sheet of things to talk about, but the Draymond stuff's crazy because he has been. It's something's going through it, and I'm a big Draymond fan. Being in Saginaw for 5 years, like he was back there a couple times. You know, I know his high school coach. I know a lot of people he grew up with. So being able to kind of know a lot of people that were in his circle, it's weird because, yes, he's been a guy with a lot of, some pretty bad calls. But what's going on right now is, to me, a little
This one was over the top.
He's usually like.
Yeah, he's had some chippy things and need guys in the groin and done some shady things.
The last year has been pretty tough for him.
You're right. The Jordan Poole punch, that was probably
started it all.
This one to Nurkic was pretty bad in the middle of the game.
The Gobert one,
that was crazy.
There was just a lot in the last year that killed it.
Yeah, dude, it's Rasheed Wallace's fault.
Why Rasheed?
You didn't see that video?
They said he used to go ahead. I think go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, Rasheed came out and he I don't think it was a joke, but he was basically like, it's our bad, it's my bad, it's our bad for doing that. It's me, it's Ben Wallace, it's Chauncey Rip. Draymond was in their locker room all the time. He was friends with Jordan Dumars, Joe Dumars' son, who played at Detroit Country Day. So he was around them all the time, just got to know that other side of basketball, the language they use, how they talk when the cameras aren't on.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it. That's how basketball was growing up. That's what it's like. And they've gone away from being a lot chippy. And I get the thing, someone, I think maybe on Armani and Edwards, they mentioned that the Draymond hit, if this was back in the day, it wouldn't matter. That hit would have been just all right, let's move on. Bill Laimbeer, those guys all, but Bill Laimbeer, he would always hit guys like that. That just happened, and they would move on.
Like Draymond's game.
Me too.
This is way over the top, and he's built up a record of not an official record, but just an NBA a record actually.
He's dealing with some things, it seems like, because usually we can deal with some of the Draymond, the goofy stuff and everything, but he's just, I didn't want to get on camera, but I'll get on.
No, I got you.
Yeah, it's just I think he's going through some things right now, and he's got to figure it out.
I hope he gets. I'm a big Draymond fan. To be honest,
maybe the Lions could sign him.
I like Draymond.
I see Draymond coming off the edge.
To put a cap on this one, boys, the score is 70-56. Joel Embiid is on on pace for 60 points and 20 rebounds in this game. Bojan, 17 points for the Pistons. Embiid has 30 and 10 at halftime. Back to the desk.
Yeah, let's. I don't even. That just killed us. Let's talk about Let's get back to the Lions here. I can't believe that. I have the Pistons hat on. I don't even know what I'm doing wearing it anymore. Until they sell the
I wonder if
team.
the Lions could beat the Pistons.
Probably. I mean, they're going to end up with more wins than the Pistons this year. That's just a fact. All right, Detroit Lions today. Injury report, Broder. You weren't in Allen Park.
No.
But they did release an injury report, so I do have one here for you guys. There was one player added to it, but the kind of positives of it, Taylor Decker back, limited practice. Yeah. I know that was kind of the biggest thing was no practice, especially with the back, man. An offensive lineman kind of doing a back injury. That was that big V thing for the longest.
You'd expect them to keep him out, no practice as long
Until
as possible.
Yeah.
Or just to, even if it's one more day, just to let the back, it's your core, it's connected to everything. Your hamstrings, your hips, your glutes, your everything. So you would assume they would just keep him out of practice entirely. If he's even in a limited practice, that means that gives me more confidence that he's going to play Saturday. At least more confidence that it's not as serious of a back injury. Because with the Vitae injury, they have experience in this. They don't want to push back injuries. What's odd, there's a lot of back and neck injuries on here.
It's a lot of the same things here.
My neck, my back.
Josh Reynolds out of nowhere, so that must have happened, tweaked something at practice. And they had a walkthrough yesterday as well. So it wasn't like he practiced full on yesterday. There was a walkthrough on Tuesday. So he had that, and then in the walkthrough maybe got tweaked something in his back. Now limited. Taylor Decker back limited. Benito Jones still limited. This is one I think Frank was going to be limited all week on a shorter week. And then Hendon Hooker, his knee. I mean, he's still on I don't know why he's still on that, to be honest.
My guess is he might be on that until, like, they have to put him on that until his 21-day window's up, and then they'll move him into the emergency quarterback slot, probably.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm just going to be kind of full transparent here. I get the offensive line thing is something that right now we're all a little in question. This kind of is a good report to me.
Yes. Agreed.
I looked at this and I was nervous. I got the alert on my phone, opened it up, and I was like, "This is good."
I was already thinking, like, okay, so they'll move Penne to left tackle. They'll have Skipper in at right tackle. I was already thinking about what they're going to do with Taylor Decker out. This is good news. This is good news, especially against the Denver Broncos, who, although it's not necessarily in the rush or their run game, but they lead the league in turnovers, and we're going to talk more about the Broncos game. So having all your, not weapons, but all your protection there is huge.
Everything you need.
Yes, even though Taylor hasn't been playing his best games as of late, they need him. They need him to play well.
I agree. Past that, though, the injury report, I guess we could move on to this next thing, because I did put a question here in the prep for this segment. I wanted to make sure we got you guys' injury report before we got into the show, because we're talking everything Detroit Lions basically today. First thing I want to talk about here, Broder, is can we just go back to kind of the fan base and kind of this kind of feeling around the fans in the Lions Nation right now? I was thinking about this today, and I was like, I want to bring this up on the show.
Do it.
Lions fans.
I don't get the feeling that everyone's as grateful as they should be for this season that's happening right now. And I don't want to sound like a slappy, like I know Stick kind of, when the loss happened, it was like a fresh wound, and Stick was like, we should all be grateful. Like a couple days into it now, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, like they're 9-4. They haven't lost a back-to-back game. Yes, things have been a little bit more rough than you kind of expected at the beginning of the year, but I had this like kind of coming to like life moment earlier today when I was at work, and I was just sitting there by myself, and I'm like, do we all, like everyone in the chat, all of you guys listening, do you guys all realize the Detroit Lions have not, since 1993, have not won a division? Since 1993, the Detroit Lions have not won a division title. And I had that moment, like I already knew that, but I had that moment to where
30 years.
I was just like, we're all sitting here kind of moping around, like complaining about the quarterback, complaining about this. And I know it's our job to break the game down. It's our job to talk about this and that. But when we're doing it, I don't think some people realize how like insane and how big of a season this is for the organization moving forward as a whole. Because you have not done what they're about to do in 93 years, or they can do in 93 years. And I had that moment today to where I was like sat back and I'm like, 93 years, I'm sorry, since 1993.
Okay, yeah, I was like doing the math in my head. I was like,
I'm since 93. Yeah, I apologize. But do you see what I'm saying here?
Yes,
I was just like kind of shocked. I was like, we've been like even me, I've done it. I think everyone here that's been on this desk has done it and been like going at the Lions so hard. It's like, hey, they're really about to do something that they haven't done since '93. That is insane.
Yeah.
That is nuts. And then when that happens, you can go win a playoff game, which you haven't done for the same amount of time, and you're going to probably have a home field advantage to start that. Like, I don't think that Lions fans and all of us kind of realize and have taken a step back to kind of take in that moment a little bit, because we're so worried because the 7-2 start, the big kind of Chiefs win, all these different wins, everyone's like, oh, maybe Super Bowl. And I've been a victim of that, to where I'm at the Booner path, the Super Bowl. I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, we should all be kind of a little bit being like, this is history, because we haven't seen it in what, 20-something years.
Yeah, no, you're true. It's true. We fans, we have to learn. And media have to learn how to cover, how to support a good team. This is new to everybody in Detroit, almost everybody in Detroit who wasn't alive in '93 or wasn't old enough. So that's a real thing. Learning how to deal with defeat while you're at the top is a different feeling than being 1-6 and another game and being the joke of the league. Now it's like we have all this optimism. We're all positive. We're all ready to go. Every loss, it just brings you down. It's like a missed opportunity. Oh, we lose. That means someone else is going to take that next spot up. The Cowboys are doing well. The Eagles aren't doing well. This is our chance to take a step ahead of them. There's a lot of emotion to it, and that's why there's been a lot of coach talk on these interviews and the press conference and player press conference. But at least the main message is they're just trying to stay level. They want to get back to what they were like when they were good.
And in our chat here, Woodward Sports Chat, appreciate you guys all tuning in. Chef Talks NFL said, the moment is currently in jeopardy. This is the issue, Booner. I don't know what is in jeopardy. Like, I think there's an over panic. Like, the Detroit Lions, as bad as they have played the last 6 games, the last 6 weeks, they're 4-2 in that stretch. They've been playing bad football, and they still went 4-2. They haven't lost back-to-back games. Now, I get there has been turnovers, but there's been that. We've seen that stretch of football from this regime and these guys, and they've turned it around. So, like, if you go out there and win Saturday, guess what? You set yourself up with, like, a 90% chance to win the division.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you want to say you have 4 games left and the moment's in jeopardy to where you need to basically win one game to give yourself a chance and 2 games to almost lock it in to go out there and win the division and get that moment to the Lions fans. Like, 2 years ago, we were all complaining when the Patricia era a couple years ago was happening. We're like, we need something different. If you would have went back in time and looked your old self in the face 3 years ago when Patricia got fired and said, don't worry, Sheila's going to bring in Dan, bring in Brad, and within 3 seasons, you're going to have a division title and a home playoff game. Don't tell me anything about the moments being ruined right now and how bad they're playing. Because right now, they've turned this thing around, and those expectations you wanted this year, guess what? With 4 games left, it is extremely obtainable, even with how bad you've played the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear any of that. Hey, you're ruining the moment. Like, they're super bad. No, they can still go win on Saturday. They need to beat the Vikings one time, and most likely they lock up the division and do what all of you guys wanted them to do. And you guys didn't. And I bet you there was no one that said this regime was going to do that within 3 seasons.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a project that was a 4. That's why they signed Dan Campbell to that long-term deal.
Yeah.
As head coaches.
These are the moments that actually make Super Bowl winners. And I'm not saying the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl because of this moment, but this is the crossroads. This is the time where they figure these things out. They've been playing like a bottom 5, bottom 7 team in the NFL, or they clean up these issues, which they feel confident in. They clean it up and they go on a run. They're dealing with this horrible stretch. There's no way around it. They played pretty horrible and still gotten away with a couple wins here. So this is that moment where they go and they figure out who they are. Are they that team at the beginning of the season that we saw, or are they the team we've watched for the last 4 or 5 weeks? We'll see.
I just wanted to bring that up. I had that that moment earlier today because we've all been so like breaking down this team, going at this team, trying to figure out. I mean, I had the Booner path obviously, so everyone's Booner, you're slappy. And then this week I kind of came to terms a little bit like, hey, maybe this team wasn't as good as we thought. But even then, if they're not as good as we thought, they still have a chance to go out there and do something like extremely special that any Lions team has not been able to do in 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Are you confident the turnovers will stop?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
And at 9:40, remember I said at 9:40, we do have that segment in regards to Ben Johnson, and he did speak about turnovers with Jared Goff. He put it into perspective a little bit in regards to what's happening with Jared Goff, I trust him. I haven't had any reasons to not trust Ben Johnson and Dan kind of turning these things I keep going back to it. They started 1-6 last year and turned it around. If you don't think they can turn around a bad streak where they went 4-2, like you're joking. You're kidding.
Listen to what you just said. A bad streak where they go 4-2.
That's literally what it is.
I've dreamed of saying those
the
words.
last 6 weeks have been brutal with turnovers, and they were 4-2.
Yeah.
And it's like if you don't think they can turn a 4-2 bad streak down.
Yeah.
And after
Booner,
they did 1-6,
people are gonna call us slappies, but we'll
Hey,
still call. If they actually listen to us on the show, we talk about all the negatives that they need to clean up.
I told Easy in the back. I looked him in the eyes. I was like, dude, I don't know if you're gonna look back at this season, and I don't think you're enjoying this moment.
Yeah.
You're like this. You've been waiting this for your whole life for the Lions to win a division. You've never seen a division title in his life.
What the
Never.
fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know when he was born, but I'm guessing he was born after '93.
Maybe.
That's terrible.
Just a guess.
Yeah.
A lot of us here. Pete, you saw a division title.
I was born in 1974. Imagine my pain.
1974,
dude.
Okay.
48 years old. So imagine my pain. Yeah, one playoff win. Now, also, you guys are forgetting 1991. The Lions started 0-3, finished 12-4.
Woo.
You know,
Things
so
can change
they
quick.
seem to have that kind of like we do bad and then come back at the end. So that's typical Lions football, especially in the SOL eras.
Yep.
You know, which apparently seem to be over. But you're right. If I may add one thing, thanks for letting me put in real
for
quick
sure.
2 cents. Thanks very much. I think that the winning the division is very, very important. Just making the playoffs will make this town go absolutely insane. And Lions fans know what I'm talking about. Make the playoff. Become a contender. The Lions were the NFL before the Super Bowl existed.
Yep.
It was them and the Cleveland Browns. That's it. Nobody else pretty much existed. They won all the NFL championships, was what it was called back then. So the Lions used to be on top back in the 50s. And then William Clay Ford bought it, and the day he bought it, Kennedy was shot. What does that tell you?
Oh man, that's not good, man. I never knew that. That's a fun fact.
Yep.
if I've
Yeah,
ever heard
he
one.
signed. He came out of the court office, and he goes, "Where's the media?" Well, they were all covering Kennedy had been shot.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a great.
That's
It's a great story. I mean,
That's
tough
great
story, but a
fact.
great story.
But it's-
great perspective that you have on. Like, I'm glad you went to Pete for that. Great perspective. Just you lived through it.
Yeah, appreciate you
You've seen
saying that.
You've seen
Yeah,
all of it.
there you go, brothers.
I dig
All
it.
right, let's do it. We're going to go to break here. When we do come back, we're going to get into Aaron Glenn. Have a handful of videos actually from him in regards to this defense. I think that's the most important thing heading into Saturday. Let me tell you guys real quick about the Lions pregame show. That is Saturday. It will be at this Saturday, not Sunday. Saturday at 5:30 to 7:30. It will be Jeff I. Frady and Tom Mazaway will be on the desk as well with Jeff. And I will be in the Maz chair. Me and Maz will be flopping seats here as I usually do the away game. So we're switching spots here on Saturday. This is our old pregame show crew.
Oh, yeah?
This is all last year. If you guys tuned into the Lions pregames last year,
Oh, yeah.
that was our crew. So make sure you guys check that out Saturday from 5:30 to 7:30. And then go check out Big Boy after that. After the Lions get a win, go eat a nice breakfast or dinner at Big Boy. Wintertime in Detroit, it is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmesan or the new Southern Comfort chicken bowl. How about breakfast? Try the stuffed potato pancakes. They are finally back. The classic lumberjack or Santa Fe garden. Also, they have new apple pie hotcakes that are too good to miss. And you can top it all off with the gingerbread shake for dessert. Make sure you stop over by your local Big Boy today.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then, she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and you offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. They offer the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. They're located on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. You can also check them out in Dearborn at their flagship location today. So find the brand you want at lesstanford.com.
All right, welcome back to Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys all tuning in to us. Broder, did you see my chat too?
Yes, Danny Green.
Danny Green, yep.
In the break, we were talking. Jalen said, time to trade Isaiah Stewart. I said, hey, the Lions should sign him. It's like, do you see Lou Williams and Danny Green talk about, they were asked who in the NBA could hit the hardest if they were in the NFL. And within a millisecond, they both at the same time said, Isaiah Stewart. It's like, what?
Beef
All right.
Stew, man.
Hey, bring him home.
I love it. I do.
Keep
That
him
was a
home.
great clip. Great clip. All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in here to Woodward Nights. If you guys can hit that like button for us, let's get some likes up here. It helps kind of push the algorithm, push our show here. The newest show at Woodward Sports, trying to grow a little bit. Get some people in here, share the stream, tell some people about it. Ken in the chat said Booner needs to start talking some Pistons. All he does is talk Lions. Yeah. Guess what? Just sell the team, and then we'll start talking the Pistons. If Tom Gores, if you want to step up, sell the team, we'll start talking about that team. Until then, or until you win a game, then we'll have that conversation. That's about it.
Bring Draymond home.
I have nothing else to say about the Pistons.
Yeah.
Sell the team or win games. That's all. All right, let's get into this. Detroit Lions defense, Broder. This is like the biggest topic, I think, all the last 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
AG, I said last week, AG stepped up to the podium, and it felt like week after week after week, he was just saying the same thing. And then last week he had that whole adjustments comment. I think it made some Lions fans kind of like, what are you talking about? You don't make adjustments. You don't like the word adjustments. Today, though, was a little bit different. He spoke about a lot of different things. He talked about the pass rush, Aiden Hutchinson. And the biggest thing to me, we'll talk about that first, but the biggest thing to me was his secondary.
Yes.
He broke down Iffy. He talked about that. He talked about Jerry Jacobs. And then the biggest one of them all to me, I have actually a pretty long video for this one, but it's about Brian Branch. Mm-hmm. And they actually took snaps away from Brian Branch, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
So let's
get into it, baby.
Start pass rush here. Trying to get that thing back up on track, kind of get things going. AG did talk about the pass rush a little bit, and it was interesting to me because he did. And we'll play these. Jalen, if we could play these videos just back to back.
All 5 of them?
No, just the pass rush one and the Aiden Hutchinson one. Just because they kind of intertwine here. And he's talking Aiden in the first one and just trying to get these guys going because that seems to be like the hardest thing because we've seen these guys go out there and get 5-6 sacks in a game. And they just haven't been able to do it. And I had the rant yesterday about Hutch, and AG talked about kind of these numbers with Hutch, looking at his numbers, kind of the pressure on him. So here's Aaron Glenn kind of breaking down this line and then talking about Aiden Hutchinson as well.
Maybe getting home a little bit more. I know they're getting some pressure early on, but doing some things here.
I mean, that is something that we always work on. The thing is, we have Aiden, which, people are going to really look at him quite a bit to slide the line to him. And I think our guys are taking the challenge. We've challenged those guys to go out there and win their one-on-ones. And I think they did a pretty good job of that last week. And we're going to continue to look at that. Listen, I said this to you guys before. When you're the second pick in the draft, when you come in and have the success he's had, the thing that comes with that is expectations and criticism. So he doesn't care, what people say. That's you guys' job is to make him go here, make him go there. But he's not. He's going to always be there. So, and I always talk to him about that. As a former player, that's just it's part of the job. But man, listen, that player's made a lot of plays for us. And listen, everyone's on him for the fact that he made those plays. Listen, it was a mistake. He owned up to it. And, man, we're moving on. And I want him to understand that and operate like that because those mistakes that he made, there's a ton of other plays that he made for us. And I try to have him to focus on those things, not those mistakes.
Hey, Boone.
There you go.
Hey,
there we go. Let's go.
I'm gonna go right to the Aiden Hutchinson part of that clip. What I took away from that is that this is a team that's maturing in front of our eyes. Like, this is your second overall pick. He's also 23 years old. He's one of your youngest players, and for him to step up and take accountability for some bonehead plays, and how Aaron Glenn is dealing with it, how they're talking about accountability, and their team just feels together. And this is at their worst. Like, this is at their absolute worst. Those arguably were Aiden Hutchinson's two worst plays as a Lion, and they're dealing with it. They're dealing with it like men, even though it was one of their youngest players dealing with it. So, like we said yesterday, I'm not worried at all about Aiden Hutchinson making these mistakes again. He'll make mistakes throughout his career and throughout the season, but he's not going to do those same mistakes again, and that's key. They're learning. Now the key is to put the pieces together.
Yeah, and it was his worst game. And I'll just keep saying that. It felt like it was his worst game. And the argument for people on their side was, he had a sack. And so, hey, let's watch the game film. And I brought that yesterday. I watched the game film, and I brought you guys those pictures yesterday. And then on top of that, the 2 touchdowns that were given up. And they kept hammering Aaron Glenn today at the press conference about Hutch having the capability of kind of making adjustments within the play, kind of which gave up that 1 touchdown. And AG just said, hey, listen, we do trust you, especially a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. We trust him to make those decisions. And every single player in the NFL, defensive lineman, who when they make those adjustments within a play, they're going to make mistakes and give big plays up. That's just how it works. And it happened to be he did that, and then he jumped off sides later in the game to give up another touchdown. And it's just the way it worked out. But him coming out after the game, and there was press conferences today with the players, and right before the show, the Lions put it up, so I wasn't able to watch it. But they spoke about that as well. And Aiden Hutchinson, right after he took accountability. Dan yesterday, when people were asking and reporters were asking him about it the other day, he literally asked back, he goes, did he take accountability? The beat reporters, yep. Okay, good. Sounds like we're good. As long as he takes responsibility, he steps up, mans up and says, hey, that was on me. We move on and we learn from it. And I think that's where AG's at with the whole thing as well. Yeah. He is still a year 2 guy. He's in year 2.
Yeah, in this moment, it sucks. Like having these mistakes in that game, it was huge. But if you look long term, he's getting these out of his system. These are plays that he's not going to make. Like he'll be in a big moment, whether it's later in this season, in the playoffs this season, or at some point down his career. We want him to be a Lion for a very long time. This situation is going to happen again, and you know what? He knows. He's going to think back to the Chicago Bears game. Not going to make that mistake.
Yeah, and kind of switch gears here with the defense, the secondary. This is the last few games, it feels like secondary's turned into a little problem, especially when you look at Jerry Jacobs. Tracy Walker got benched, so Iffy came in, Melifonwu came in. A lot of different things going on with that. We saw the Brian Branch going from what is he getting, like 90% of the defensive snaps all the way down to 53. So AG did speak about this. We're going to start off with this first video, the one about him talking about Iffy, and then as well there's another one, him talking about Jerry Jacobs. So I don't know if we can go back to back. If not, no big deal on that. But the first one here's him talking about Iffy and kind of Jerry Jacobs and that role and kind of what happened with the Tracy Walker stuff as well.
Well, listen, that was something that we always wanted to get Iffy a chance to go out there and play. The thing is, he had the injury with his hand, and he's getting better with that. So we just thought this was the week to give him a chance to go out there and start and see how he did. I think he did a pretty good job. Listen, it's his first time starting in a while, and there were some mistakes in there, just like any other player would be. And I think he did a pretty good job. But we're going to continue to move in that direction, see how he do. Listen, Jerry's not a guy that we're throwing away, and I don't want anybody to think that. Listen, there's still skins on the wall with that player also. All right, he's done some good things for us. But the thing is, man, we got to do everything we can to play at a high level, and we're going to continue to find the guys that's going to do that for us.
I want to start off with the first thing with Iffy there. I don't know if you heard at the end of that statement, but he did mention, he said that's something we're going to continue to kind of move forward with, is Iffy in there. And it seemed like they were pretty set on him kind of taking that spot. And I don't know if that's like shocking. It kind of shocked me a little bit. I thought Tracy was playing well, and Tracy has started he's been a piece in this defense in the past, and then it's just out of nowhere. Hey, if he's healthy now, let's just go him. So he must have really been outperforming him in practices and standing out for that to happen. And then for AG to kind of double down on it after that game that he had and say, we're moving forward with the whole Iffy thing.
Yeah, it's surprising. They must see. Not just this season, must see a future in Iffy long term. Tracy Walker, he's one of those who's got a contract coming up soon, and he's not cheap. And he hasn't been playing as good as he can, but he's had what I thought was a good year in considering the circumstances. Like, it's one of those, he could have moped on the sidelines, and when C.J. Gardner-Johnson took his spot because Brian Branch was playing so well, and they needed him at nickel. But Tracy Walker came in right when C.J. Gardner-Johnson, C.D. Deuce, went out, and he balled. I mean, he filled in pretty admirably for the first 5-6 games. He struggled the last couple weeks, but it was surprising. I don't know. I gotta think about this one a little bit more, look into it a little bit more, because Tracy Walker's like a big part of that team. Like, he's loved in that locker room.
Yep. And then the second kind of part here, Jerry Jacobs.
Yeah.
And that seems to be something as well that they're kind of okay with kind of moving on with this. At least that's what I took out of it.
It seemed like they just tried to drag it on as long as they could. Like literally, there is not a lot of depth anymore on this team. They added all the depth this offseason, and they're not there anymore.
With Kendall Vildor back, like, kind of on the team now, that kind of opened up to where it's, hey, maybe we could start rotating guys and getting different guys in there. So that's
they're gonna try to find what works.
The Jerry thing doesn't seem to be kind of
keeps
coming to
and I like Jerry as a player, and I think this shows some pretty good self-awareness out of AG. It's like he rode him as long as he could. But at some point, the mistakes outweigh the value, and you at least got to try someone else. And they seem to have a lot of faith in Kendall Vildor. He's tough. He's smart. He said they know he's going to be in the right spot. I don't know if he's more athletic than Jerry or more physical, but you got to try something new. We got to figure out what works. This is that time.
Yeah, and we do have to go to break here. Yeah. We're a little over it. Real quick before that, though, guys, I did want to touch on the Brian Branch stuff. He did kind of speak about Brian Branch, and this is where it messed me up a little bit when it came to AG. This makes me nervous about the defense. He mentioned with Brian Branch, he went down, to 53% of the snaps, and he said he wanted to do kind of what he did with C.J. Gardner-Johnson when he was in New Orleans and he was early in his career, is put him into one position and say, just be great at this. The only thing that he mentioned at the end is he said, I wanted to make sure Iffy got his snaps as well. If that's the case, it feels like you're just kind of like, hey, let's just try and develop guy. Let's try and do this to guy. Like,
weird timing.
It's time to you're trying to win a division, and you're trying to go win playoff games. So when I heard that comment, that made me like a little bit like where are we really at with this defense?
Yes.
So that was comment. Maybe we could play that if we have time later. I'll play that video.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk Brian Branch more later in the show.
All right, let's hit break. I'm gonna tell you guys real quick about Woodward in Maine. Make sure you guys tune in. They are switching their show. It is going to be not Sunday, but it will be this Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. before the game. Make sure you guys tune in. And that is the Woodward Sports Alliance Insider Show, hosted by Gabrielle D. Phillips, our own Matt Broder, and Detroit legend Terry Foster on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel. That is this Saturday at 8 a.m.
Yes.
Tune in.
And Monday through Saturday, did you know that Dispo Romeo's open till midnight or later? Just not Sunday. Dispo, the Dispo difference this Christmas season, they're giving away a TV as well, $200 in-store gift cards per week at participating locations. Nobody does it like the Dispo family, so you can unwrap the joy. Dispo Dispensary every week. Join them in celebrating for the holidays. See their store for more details. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness! Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White and Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
How would you like to win a 100K Vegas getaway? Take your friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Cintron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win. Register at drinkcintron.com and purchase Cintron at your local Meijer store. Cintron, the healthier energy drink with great taste to make you look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself. Enter now, drinkcintron.com/Vegas.
All right, welcome back into Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're in the YouTube here watching us, we appreciate you guys as well. Hit that like button for us. We're at 52 likes. Let's get the likes up a little bit here. 75. In just a couple minutes, actually, we will have Denver Broncos beat reporter joining us. He will be about 9 o'clock. That is Parker Gabriel from the Denver Post, I believe. Correct, Broder?
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm excited. That's going to be like our first kind of outside interview when it comes to Woodward Nights, especially a beat writer, and kind of get a feel kind of the other side of the game here. I'm excited to kind of speak.
Parker's family now. I don't know what he's walking into. I don't know if he realized that he's now part of Woodward Nights.
He is. Parker.
Can't wait to talk to him.
Especially being the first beat reporter we got outside of you, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's keep this thing rolling, keep the ball going. That's what we're going to get into here. Before we have him on, let's just break down a little bit of this Denver Broncos Detroit Lions game. Speak about it a little bit. The line opened going into this matchup at 4, I believe, 4.5. It is already to 5.5. I saw it.
Lions
so
favored?
That means Lions are favored. Yep, and that means money is coming in on the line. People, I believe, they think the Lions are going to bounce back here big. And the line at 5.5 is kind of surprising. I thought it would be a lot closer because usually at home you get 2 or 3 points, and they're sitting there with 5.5 points. So this is going to be interesting. Broncos obviously have one of the hottest teams in football. Won 6 of the last 7 games, Broder. They've beat. This has shocked me a little bit.
I know they're hot.
They beat the Packers. They beat the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Browns, the Chargers, and the Buffalo Bills. They haven't just gone out there and beat like Arizona Cardinals and all these bad. They went out there and beat some dudes. They've played some teams that we have played and we have beat, but also teams that we have played and we have lost to as well. So they're out there. They're one of the hottest teams of football, brother. How do we feel? Initial thoughts on this game here?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. This is, like you said, this is probably the most confident team outside of the 49ers, maybe the most confident team in the NFL. And the things that they're doing well right now are the things that the Lions are struggling with. They're the tied for number 1 in the NFL in takeaways, and that's been the Lions' problem these last couple of weeks. So they're coming in confident, and as a team, a defense full of ball hawks. That's a formula to defeat the Lions right now. And on the other side, they had an offense that's continuing to get more confident as well. I'm going to use that word a lot because this was a team that didn't seem confident at the beginning of the season. Javonte Williams is running really well. Sean Payton, this is where Sean Payton's coaching comes into play. He's got this offense running with Russell Wilson, who's having a better year. It's not like they've let him loose. It's not like he's been running around like the old Russell Wilson and throwing for 300, 400 yards. They're sort of containing him until the moments when then they're letting him loose, whether it's the end of the first half, end of the game. That's when they say, all right, let's air it out to Cortland Sutton. Let's find Jerry Jeudy. That's when they're really using his experience to their advantage. So this is a team that despite their start, they can beat anybody in the league right now.
Yeah, and something big too, kind of with the stretch of football they've played. I'm interested to hear kind of what Parker as well has to say about this. But Russell Wilson, as he's been playing really, really good football in the wins that they've had those 6 wins in that 7-game stretch. If you just look at his stats in those 6 wins, 11 touchdowns and 1 interception, and that 1 loss they had, he had 3 interceptions. So the key to me, and I know I say this every Friday, and I'm going to bring it up on Friday for my number 1 takeaway of the game when we kind of do our pregame stuff on Friday. But a team that literally leads the NFL in takeaways, and you're sitting there and I think you have half of the takeaways they have this year. You have to go in there and 1, you have to take care of the ball, but 2, you have to find a way to get the ball from Denver. You have to get your offense in that position for to get a short field. Because if you look at that 1 loss that they've had in the last 7 games, Russell Wilson, 3 interceptions. And that's what you need to do to win this game. And I think you're going to have to force 2, maybe 3 turnovers to sit here and dominate this game. Or if you don't, you're going to be battling out because they're going to get they're probably going to get a turnover on you. Because they're not just out here getting interceptions. I'm pretty sure they've forced 13 or 14 fumbles on the year.
Yeah.
So they're going after the ball. They've been taught very, very well. I know they have. I heard someone say, I think it was on E&E, that they might have on Thursdays like takeaway Thursdays.
Yeah.
Where literally all they do is just sit there and work on takeaways on the video screens in their locker room.
Media's all over it. Like they let everyone just see, hey, this is what we do on Thursdays.
We're taking the ball away, and that's an emphasis on that defense. That's where I think the Lions right now on defense, and I said it a couple days ago, they need to get to that point to where 1, all they worry about is takeaways, and 2, they just get some sort of edge to them. And that's what this Denver team the last 7 games has had. They've had edge, and then they've had a quarterback and Russell Wilson who's looked like his old self.
Yeah.
I'm excited. That's what I want to ask Parker too, because I want to kind of get a feeling on what Russell Wilson's doing in that locker room right now. So
to look on the optimistic side, what the Lions did well earlier in the season, what really is their identity, is actually what the Broncos are least effective at on defense, and that's the run game. The Lions need to get back to that ground and pound style, especially to start the game. They got to own the line of scrimmage right from the beginning of the game, get out to that lead like I've been talking about the last couple weeks, and really let that offensive line get back into a rhythm, protect Jared Goff, and work off of the play action pass. This is something that the Lions can do. This is a good game to get back to that, especially seeing Taylor Decker likely playing. Hopefully Frank Ragnow's back. So the look on the bright side, they're trying to get back to their identity, and this is the team to do it against. And if they do that, that'll take the playmakers on the outside out of the game. The Patrick Surtains, is it Justin Jackson? Justin Simmons, excuse me. I don't know why I said Justin Jackson. They got playmakers there. You limit that by pounding it with David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, and then picking your points at the outside.
This is going to be, and I know we thought it was going to end up being the Dallas game. That was kind of your playoff atmosphere. This is going to be a playoff atmosphere type field game, in my opinion. Saturday night, primetime, Ford Field, Detroit at home versus a Broncos team, won 6 of the last 7. This is going to be an atmosphere that we haven't seen yet this year, besides maybe in Kansas City. Or maybe, some of these home games have been huge, but I just feel like Detroit's going to show out, and you're going to find out a lot about this football team this Saturday. 8:15. Like, you're going to find a ton out about this team. Are you a little worried? I do want to ask you this too.
Yes.
This is like that matchup to where that former coach, Dan Campbell, kind of came up under Sean Payton, learned from him. Same with like Alex Anzalone, coached under him. Aaron Glenn under him. Like, a lot of these guys in this room, a lot of these coaches are from the Dan Campbell tree, which came from Sean Payton. Are you a little like, I do have that side of me to where it's like, maybe like you always see like the mentee always gets beat, and the mentor always beats the mentee. And that's where I'm a little like, is that a worry that we need to have in mind here?
100%.
It is, but it's also a reason to be optimistic, if that makes sense. Sean Payton is such a good coach, so you gotta. You know he's coming in and going to bring his best effort. All the coaches talked about it this week. He wants to come in and embarrass us. He wants to come in and put 50 up on us. That is something that he's trying to do. On top of the fact that they have a lot to play for. Denver's still not just fighting for a playoff spot. They're fighting to win their division.
Yeah.
They beat the Chiefs. I don't know if they have the tiebreaker or whatever, but they're fighting for first place. So they're fighting for home field. It's big for them. But you look on the other side, the Lions aren't playing very well. They need extra energy, a little extra focus. Dan Campbell and this squad of coaches who played under him, and Alex Anzalone, that's all the more energy, all the more focus they put on going out and having a good game, just getting back to what they do. That's what the mentee wants to do, to show the mentor that, hey, I can coach too. You taught me things. This is what I'm going to run with it, but then I'm going to put my own spin on it. And I think his own spin is that ground and pound run game. It's that running behind that offensive line, or using your offensive line as your main identity on offense. With Sean Payton in the past, it has been play action pass. Drew Brees was really the best quarterback in his time with the Saints. So they used play action line. They threw it a lot with Drew Brees. It wasn't until Alvin Kamara, although they did have some pretty good running backs, Deuce McAllister and such. But nonetheless, I'm starting to ramble here. The Lions need to get back to that. Coach Campbell, this is his time. He wants to beat his mentor, so it's all that more reason for him to be extra focused and get these guys ready.
Perfect. All right, let's hit break. When we come back, we're going to try and see here if we got Parker on the line. Parker Gabriel, Denver Broncos beat reporter and beat writer. So let's go to break real quick. Broder?
Yes.
Tell us Tell us about Jack Labrador.
Born in a cold winter basement in Detroit. 3 buddies wanting more out of rock, paper, scissors, dug deep, and struck gold with Jack Labrador. With 2 new symbols and a 3-point play. Once you go Jack, you'll never go back. 1 deck of cards, 3 new games, nonstop action. It is the perfect no-brainer stocking stuffer for all ages. Just scan the QR code right up there or go to jacklabrador.com to get your deck today.
All right, and let me tell you guys about Hamlin Pub. Hamlin. Have you ever wanted a bar where you are a regular? We have just the place for you. Head over to one of Hamlin Pub's 7 locations and experience where everyone is a regular. Great spot, by the way. Went there for the pregame show from Michigan a couple weeks ago. Amazing wings every day they have. They have half-off pizza on Thursdays, game day special during all Michigan sports events and NFL games. Hamlin Pub, that is the place you want to be. You can visit the location today and experience your new favorite pub for all things sports.
How would you like to win not 1, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Head to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness! Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Do you have football on the brain? Well, winter ushers in college and professional football, and this winter's awesome. Winter is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance, so shop it like a pro at Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. So ask for Market Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177.
All right, Broder, back to you.
Oh, baby. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. This is Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. We are working on getting Parker Gabriel, beat writer for the Denver Post, on. It looks like we got him here, Sec. Just want to thank you all for joining us. This is the 9 o'clock hour. If you could, hit that like button to support us. To support Parker coming up, we'll let him plug all his socials and where you can find him, support him. It seems, do we got him? Let's kick this off. Parker Gabriel, can you hear us? Hey, Parker, are you there? Are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you? Can you hear me?
Perfect. We can hear you, Parker. How you doing?
What's going on?
How you doing? Thanks for bearing with us.
Good. How are you guys?
Getting through this. We're doing very well. Very well. We just introduced you to everyone, Parker Gabriel, and confirm, make sure all this is correct. I know we pulled this together pretty last minute, but you're the beat reporter and beat writer for the Denver Post covering the Denver Broncos. Is that accurate? And is there anything else that you have on your resume that you would like to share?
Nope, that's the big one, at least as far as this conversation is concerned. Denver Post, and we've been covering an interesting season out here in Denver.
It has been interesting. It has been interesting for you guys. We have a lot we're interested in. The first question I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to start as Lions people here in Detroit. Last season, we witnessed this team start 1-5. and we had our owner, Sheila Hamp Ford, speak to the fans, come out and say, hey, trust this process, trust these coaches. The Lions did lose their next game, the 6th, but after that, they went on a run, 8-2, and it's sort of been clicking, except for the last couple of weeks, clicking on all cylinders ever since. I want to ask you, I know the Denver Broncos started slow this year, even had a pretty crushing 70-point, or Miami Dolphins put up 70 on you. It seems that you've completely turned it around. You're one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Was there a moment or anything that happened, anything you can point to that turned this around for your Denver Broncos?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing that happened was that they made a series of moves defensively. You know, that they ended up, it was kind of piece by piece, but they ended up swapping out, I think, 4 or 5 starters, and the new defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, who formerly was the head coach in Denver, they found their footing, and they turned from being an historically bad defense into, one of the best in the NFL, really in the span of a couple weeks. And it was pretty remarkable. But it's funny that you mentioned that slow start last year for Detroit, because, Sean Payton was an assistant with the Giants when Dan Campbell got drafted in 1999, played for him in New York, played for him in Dallas, played for him in New Orleans, and then obviously coached several years in New Orleans with him before he got the Detroit job. And Sean actually sort of said when they were 1-5, he's like, well, Detroit was 1-6 last year and they got it going. And that's an easy thing to say when you're 1-5. But now here we are, 8 weeks later, and they've actually sort of done what Detroit did last year. And that was an example that Peyton pointed to, several weeks ago of, but look, this could still be on the table for Denver.
Yeah, well, that's what makes a lot of people nervous here in Detroit. We remember what we felt like as Lions people last season. Now you guys are coming to town.
Change.
Yes, Booner.
And Park, I do want to ask you too. You mentioned kind of Sean Payton there a little bit, and I know kind of it feels like the last 12 months in Denver there has been kind of crazy with the coaching change. Kind of just looking from last year, going 5-12, kind of to this year. 6 of the last 7 games. What has Sean Payton kind of changed that Denver team there? Because going into Saturday, I could kind of speak for people in Detroit. I think we're all kind of a little, I wouldn't say a little nervous, to where it's like we know what Sean Payton is and the team he has. What has that culture change been like kind of in this offseason with Sean Payton?
Yeah, it's been interesting because, they've been better offensively this year than they were last year, and obviously Sean Payton has a lot to do with that. He's got Russell Wilson playing not at an all-pro level, maybe like the heyday in Seattle, but much more akin to the Russell Wilson that we just sort of, got used to seeing over the last decade compared to, the train wreck all around last year. And so, that's one thing, and Sean definitely has, his fingerprints on that and the improvement there and all that. The biggest thing that's happened that's turned this season around is what Vance Joseph and the defense has done. But I think to your question, overall, there's just a sense of, you guys, this is it's sort of Denver specific, but before Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett was a first-time head coach, and before him, Vic Fangio was a first-time head coach, and before him, Vance Joseph was a first-time head coach. So they'd gone that route 3 times in a row in the hiring process, and I think the thing that happened when Sean Payton got hired was just the simple fact of this guy's won 152 regular season games in the NFL, and he has a Super Bowl championship. It might have been a long time ago. It's still, there's a lot of good coaches in the NFL and the AFC. You're not going to say right back to having the best or something like that. But just to have somebody that knows exactly what he wants to get done every day, exactly how to structure practice, how he likes travel, all this sort of stuff, it's just not something that the organization here has had in a long time. And so I think even just that, even the I've won a lot of games in the NFL and I know what I'm doing, has been sort of a breath of fresh air and has helped the Broncos, sort of weather the storm early in the season and think well, this guy knows what he's doing. We'll get it going eventually.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking as you were talking, I couldn't remember. You're talking about coaches turning around teams. Were you talking about Sean Payton or Mike Malone with the Denver Nuggets? He's done some good work there for your Nuggets. And I know Booner's about to ask about Russell Wilson, more game stuff, but I just want a quicker answer from you. Being in Denver, what do you think about the Detroit Lions? What do Denver fans, Denver media, what do you think of us? We're 9-4, but we're on a little tough streak right now. What are the vibes out there, as Booner will say sometimes?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a tough matchup, right? I mean, you're going on the road. It's Denver's third straight game away from home, and it's against the division leader, right? I mean,
right.
I think you look at, the Broncos beat both Green Bay and Chicago this year, and so it's like easy to look at the last 3 weeks and say, "Well, are the Lions struggling a little bit? What's the deal defensively?" All of that, but like end of the day, it's a 9-4 football team that has a vice grip on a division. And as much as anything is trying to get some stuff straightened out before they play in the playoffs, whereas the Broncos are, sort of fighting for their playoff lives every week. And so certainly, like, I think there's a sense that the Broncos can win the game, but I don't think you'd find many people out here that are saying, like, oh, they're struggling, this will be a breeze or anything like that.
Yeah, and I like kind of the point you brought up there, and it feels like it's something in Detroit that's been a big thing, is the secondary here right now, and that defense. It feels like our defense right now is just some Swiss cheese, and everyone's kind of running through it and going through it. So that's kind of an issue here on our end. So I'm glad you said that, so we don't feel like we're crazy here, and everyone around the NFL can see the same thing. I do want to, with our defense though, the main thing to me, and I'm kind of scared of, and the main focus for me with the Denver Broncos this Saturday in Detroit, is I've noticed a different Russell Wilson from last year. If you look at, and I gave the stats earlier on the show, is in this kind of little stretch here, the 6 wins that you guys have had there in Denver, he's thrown for like 11 touchdowns and 1 interception, and it looks like he's back to his form. Is that kind of the sense and feeling that people are having in Denver right now? Is it's kind of like Russell Wilson is back a little bit? Do you guys get that feeling as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's certainly playing with a lot more confidence than he did last year, and you hit on it. I mean, the turnovers, that's really been the story this season. Through the 5 straight that they won before they lost earlier this month in Houston, he did not throw an interception in that 5-game span, and he just had 1 lost fumble. I think the Broncos only turned it over twice in that 5-game span. It's been a little leakier the last couple of weeks. I think he got intercepted twice at Houston, 3 times at Houston actually late in the game, and then threw one on the first play last week against the Chargers. And they settled in from there, and they played fine, and the Chargers are not very good, and so it all came out in the wash. So a little bit more turnover prone the last couple weeks, but that's sort of been like, in baseball, when a hitter sacrifices maybe some on base percentage or is willing to take a few more strikeouts in order to hit for more power.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what the Broncos offense has gone for the last couple of weeks. They've played defenses in Houston and the Chargers that are more susceptible to really like a great run of defenses that they played before that. And so in that, they decided we're going to be more aggressive, we're going to push the ball down the field more. They don't, not trying to turn the ball over, but they have a little bit more as they've dialed up that aggressiveness. And so one thing that will be interesting to watch Saturday night is, where do they fall on that spectrum of, I think they'll want to push the ball down the field, but are you thinking, hey, Detroit's offense is pretty good, let's make sure we don't turn it over and we try to manage the clock? Or does that aggressiveness really become sort of the calling card?
And Parker, I love you said that, because every Friday on our show we do like kind of our pregame and talk about teams in the kind of the game and break it down. And I always talk about every week how important it is in the NFL to win the turnover battle. So I love that you said that, and everyone who listens to our show probably thinks like, man, Booner, that's all you talk about is the turnover battle. You saying that right there is like every team in the NFL. That is like the main thing that kind of everyone talks about.
I'm staying on that topic, but I'm going to flip it over to the defensive end. The Denver Broncos are tied for first in the NFL in takeaways, if I'm not mistaken, and have really turned this has been a big part of their turnaround, getting takeaways. That's where the Lions have struggled these last couple games, especially quarterback Jared Goff. Not just interceptions, but fumbles too. Talk to me about either where this is coming from, or maybe it's part of the culture. We heard about some things they do on Thursdays with the media, or it's takeaway day. If you could delve into that, and maybe if there are a couple players on your defense that we should look out for as folks watching the Lions. We were kind of looking for Patrick Surtain maybe to find a home here in Detroit. I don't know if that was even ever a possibility. It probably wasn't, but tell us a little bit about that defense and their ability to get the ball.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they've just ramped it up. I mean, from the time they started winning, I mean, it started with the defense taking the ball away, and they. I mean, you guys, want to talk about turnover battle. The Broncos, when they win the turnover battle, they're 7-1, and they're plus 17 in those games. And when they lose the turnover battle, they're 0-5 and minus 11 in those games. I mean, it's pretty much it's about as cut and dried as it can be for them this year. And part of that's because they've come in bunches. I mean, they turned over Kansas City 5 times and Buffalo 4 times. They had a run of 4 straight games where they had at least 3 takeaways. And then, like in Houston, they turned it over 3 times and lost. It's not rocket science. So it's really become sort of their calling card. They haven't taken it away quite as much the last couple.
They've made up for it. I think they have 17 sacks over the last 4 games. So it's been a defense. It's been a big play defense. And for the most part, it's also been a fundamentally sound defense, which obviously, that's a dangerous combination when you're rolling like that. And so in terms of, the one thing to watch this week is Nick Benito, second-year guy.
Is he back?
Player. He's not practiced yet this week. He injured his knee last week. So he'll be one to watch. But they've sort of created turnovers in a bunch of different ways. Obviously, Pat Surtain only has 1 pick this year. Teams don't even really bother throwing at him.
That allows the playmakers to go make the plays when he can lock up that number 1.
Yeah, exactly. And you have a better idea of where the ball's going, too. If you just know that a quarterback is not going to look his direction very often. And so, Justin Simmons has been, prolific in taking the ball away for several years, but two young guys to keep an eye on. P.J. Locke is a safety who's playing now with Kareem Jackson suspended, has been really good blitzing from the secondary level. And then their nickel, Jaquan McMillan, was undrafted last year out of East Carolina, didn't hit the starting lineup until week 4 this year, and yet has turned himself into one of 2 players in the NFL that has multiple interceptions, multiple forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, and sacks on the year. And it's been pretty incredible. I mean, he's a guy who, was on the border of not even making the roster out of camp, and he's turned himself into, pretty legitimately being in the Pro Bowl conversation. So he's number 29. He's a little guy, but he's done nothing but make big plays for Denver over the last 8 games or so.
And Parker, real quick, we did just see this news here. Pete over there just showed me something here, but we saw that Russell Wilson just in the last couple of days, him and his wife actually welcomed into baby. Has he been at practice, or has that been something that he's been kind of away from the game for a day or so with this, them having kind of a newborn come in, or is that not an effect? Am I just being on the Detroit side here? Am I just overthinking here, or is he about to go out there and just throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns? One of those type of games.
No, he's been at practice. They had the baby was born Sunday night in Los Angeles, actually, after the Chargers game.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. He may not have been there Monday for their, the walkthrough stuff or whatever. But no, that was a Sunday night post game situation, and we talked to him today. He was at practice today, and no reason to think he won't be the rest of the week.
Man, I have a feeling that might be one of those big games.
He's got the more dad strength now. I don't know if that's his first. It was funny, Bruno, the way you said heavy. Sorry, Parker.
Dad strength times 4.
Yes. We hope that there's a delay in that post birth. You get it's 2 weeks off before he gets that strength. Having Booner, you said having a newborn come in, it sounded like as a free agent. They're signing someone to the practice squad. But Parker, while we wrap up here, I appreciate you staying a couple extra minutes here. Is there any other matchup of this game on Saturday that you think is one to look out to, whether it's one that Denver is worried about on the Detroit end or one that we in Detroit should be worried about from the Denver side?
No, to me, the question is going to be, it sounded like just from what I read today, maybe that Detroit's starting to get healthy on the offensive line. And that's got a chance to be, to me, that's a key, because the Broncos, I think I mentioned it, they've created a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks over the last few weeks. And their defensive line has played pretty well. DJ Jones and Zach Allen in the middle of it, and then sort of a collection of edge guys. But it hasn't been an overwhelming group. They don't have a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. And so to me, that's an area where I think if the Broncos can sort of, draw there, that's probably good news for them. And it's an area where, the way Detroit's played most of the year, if they can run the ball at Denver, which has sort of been the Broncos defense's weakest link all season, is the way that teams have been able to run the ball against them. And so that to me, like, if the Detroit offensive line can control the game, Detroit's in great shape. And if the Broncos can, be a match at least, then I think Denver's probably in pretty good shape.
Want to lead that in there. You said if they run the ball, they'll be in good shape. I want to lead this into the final question we have for you here. If you want to give us a little prediction, kind of score prediction or kind of big game prediction that you have here for the game on Saturday.
If you're able to, also.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I've gone back and forth on it a bunch of times. I do like the way Denver's playing right now. It hasn't been pretty, but it's been effective enough. And I think they've come close to making more big plays in the passing game than they've actually made the past 2 weeks. And if they hit on, one or two more of those, I think they can get it done. And frankly, like, the Broncos need a win, like, standings wise, playoff wise, more than Detroit does. And so all of that said, I like there to be some scoring, and I'm taking Denver 27-24. But obviously, either way would not surprise me.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah. Well, Parker, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and talk to our viewers. They're loving you in the chat right now, so thank you very much. Again, everyone, this is Parker Gabriel, beat writer, beat reporter for the Denver Post, covering the Denver Broncos. You can find him on Twitter at @ParkerJGabriel. Also, Parker, is there anywhere else where they can find you or where you direct people for your work? Or they go to the Denver Post site? Let us know if you could.
Yeah, denverpost.com/Broncos. And, I'm trying to give the Threads thing a try. So same handle there, Gabriel.
Awesome. I know we didn't have any graphic with your name up on the screen. We're going to send that out to everyone. We'll put it on our socials. So thank you so much, Parker. Have a great night, and we hope to be speaking to you again sometime soon, whether it's later in the year or next season. We really appreciate this.
See you guys. Yep, anytime.
You bet.
See you, Parker.
Awesome. That was great, Booner.
It was.
You got to see to feel what Denver thinks of us, of the Lions, and sort of their feelings going into this game is really interesting.
It was something we talked about earlier in the year. We wanted to start getting some beat reporters from other towns to kind of get a feeling. So maybe we'll start doing that every week.
Be awesome.
Have someone in from the other opposing city, because it's good. It's a good perspective to see what other people feel about the Detroit Lions and kind of get a feeling of that matchup, especially heading into this week. I know it's only Wednesday, but we're going to be talking about the game a lot Thursday, Friday. Let's hit break. When we do come back, let's
just come back after
we'll
break.
Talk about the Lions' remaining schedule. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about this Denver matchup, too. We might make an audible. Let me tell you guys about Planet Fitness, though. It is the home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. Over at Planet Fitness, you will experience squeaky clean gyms that has tons of equipment, full-body workouts in just 30 minutes, and all memberships. They include fitness training. Get all of that for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in the Metro Detroit area and thousands around the world. Make sure you guys check out Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then, she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
When it comes to your pet, don't settle. Give your pet the best. That means going to Premier Pet Supply because they're hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. They got 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
All right, welcome back to Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate all of you guys here sticking with us. That was an awesome conversation.
Parker was great.
Parker was awesome. I saw a couple people in the chat say, hey, Parker really knows what he's talking about and knows his football.
Definitely.
So I do. The text that just got come through because we're in a group and so Parker, former Parker here at Woodward, and you text something about Parker and he was like, what about me? Parker.
Oh, is that what he did?
Parker Meadows.
I was like, hey, when we put a clip out, can we put his socials or something just overlaid so it's not just Booner and I looking at the screen? But no, Parker was great, really informative. Check him out at Parker J. Gabriel on Twitter and Threads, denverpost.com/Broncos. And I think Tyler Chauvet just said he's got a Twitch. I'm not sure what the address is, so go support Parker. He was great.
Do that. Yep. Yeah, great guy. That was awesome. Let's get into this, though. If you guys haven't as well, please hit that like button for us. Let's get those likes up a little bit, just so we can kind of push our show out. Just being kind of a newer show, it helps us out grow a little bit. Let's get into this. So I wanted to talk about this. We have actually probably 5 minutes, so it's going to be quick. I want to talk about the Detroit Lions' remaining schedule.
Yeah.
We'll break down the Broncos. We'll talk about. I'm going to go back and talk about the Parker stuff a little bit more because he did give us a lot of good information to speak about the next 2 days. But just the Lions' remaining schedule, because this is where it comes down to, and we spoke about the division. This is going to be a huge 4-game stretch for this Lions team. It's going to show a lot. And I don't think just this year. I think it's going to show a lot for guys like Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson.
Yes.
I know he's going for a head coaching job. It's going to show a lot for him. Aaron Glenn, he's fighting for a head coaching job. It's going to show a lot from that. Kind of where these guys kind of turn the tables. Can they bounce back from this 4-game stretch? Can they do it? And I think they can. So, Broder, what I want to do, I just want to look at these 4 games and kind of get our final season predictions with these, because I feel like we've done it every couple weeks. And this feels like the final stretch of football that we need to lock in on. So we'll start with the Broncos and then obviously go so on. Broncos game. For me, I'm taking this out as a win. I think the Lions need to take care of business. They know it. 5.5-point favorites at home. I think this is a game they get it done. And then kind of getting into there to where you win this game, you're in control of the NFC North. And I think there's no question about it after that.
Yeah, I'm with you, although it's not going to be an easy game. I got to think about my score prediction before Friday, but I like his 27. It was 27-24, right? I think it's going to be a game like that, 27-24, 31-27. I think the Lions, though, are going to come out on top. At Ford Field now, this is a time. There's much less excuses. Now, go play your game. Go beat them.
Stop not scared. So you're taking that a win?
Scared. I'm calling it a win.
And this next game, too. Shout out D-Mac. Shout out the boys, BDE. Want to look at these 2 games. Let's just look at the 2 Vikings games as a whole.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to go with it. I think they split versus the Vikings.
I'm cool with that.
And I don't think it has anything to do with how good this team is. I just think the division, I didn't put enough respect, and I think a lot of Lions fans didn't put enough respect on the Packers and Bears. And I will admit, I was probably at the front of that saying, oh, they'll beat them by a touchdown or 2. They're going to dominate this game. And it did not happen, and they lost the last 2 division games they played.
To be clear, they were trash at the beginning of the season.
They were.
The other ones. But they turned around it in a real way.
The NFC North right now is no joke. Vikings, even though they have Nick Mullins.
3 teams.
They're still in the battle for the NFC North, as crazy it is. So I do think these are going to be 2 tough games. I'm going to say split here. That puts the Lions at 2-1. Where are you split?
I'm cool with that too, especially if they win the first one, clinch a spot, and actually if they clinch a game against Minnesota, they're not going to be showing anything new on that final game. So we'll see. I think the one, if Nick Mullins is still the starter next week, the one benefit that does, we had a stretch here of all mobile quarterbacks to end the season. Nick Mullins is not a mobile quarterback. So I'd actually be curious if they use Josh Dobbs a little bit in the game anyway, knowing Detroit struggles. But they need, as long as they beat the Broncos, they need to split one of those, because I think this Cowboys game, it's gonna be
an interesting one here. And I want everyone in the chat right now, I want you to put in there, if you I just want to see where people are at with this Cowboys games. Do you believe the Detroit Lions will beat the Dallas Cowboys? Just yes or no. I want to see what people think. And I see Pete's over there shaking his head no. This is where I'm at with this game. I had a conversation with Hollywood himself, Jeff Frady. We had this conversation about this Cowboys game. I think it was Jeff. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys are extremely hot. They're extremely hot. In a couple weeks, at some point, this Dallas team is going to slow down, and they're going to slip up one time. They're not going to win the rest of their football games. I can guarantee you that. We all know what the Dallas Cowboys are about. The Detroit Lions might catch them at a good time, to where they need a time to slip up. That might be it.
Yeah.
They're going to go through this little gauntlet of games that they have. I'll pull it up here a little bit, but the Dallas Cowboys have a tough stretch of football. They go play the Bills in Buffalo this weekend. Then they go on the road and play Miami. Their next 2 games are very tough. 2 back-to-back road games versus 2 tough football teams. And then they have the Lions. The Lions might be able to catch them at a really good time and kind of just catch them slipping once and get a win there.
That would be awesome.
I would not be surprised.
That'd be awesome.
As crazy as it feels.
As of today, I'm not going to predict that. But looking at the grand scheme of things, we hope that this is the Cowboys are peaking. Even if they still get another win or 2, we hope that they're going to start to play their worst football maybe later on in December or hopefully in the playoffs. Detroit wants to get in a rhythm like they're at now, where they're playing their best football like the Cowboys are now, but moving forward and into the playoffs.
So do you think win or loss? Can we go around the room on this one real quick?
Yes.
Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to say win.
I'm going to say loss.
Wow.
They're arguably playing the best in the NFL right now.
Nick?
Give me the dub. It starts with Denver. We go on a little run to end this year, and we get the momentum back before the playoffs. I truly believe that. It starts with Denver. I think we can win in Dallas, where we actually played them really close last year, besides a on the goal line fumble by Jamal Williams, if I'm not mistaken. Amon-Ra St. Brown concussion early in that game. We were right there, and then I was down in Dallas for it. I think we beat them this time around, and Dallas tends to choke late per usual. So
love it.
Let's go.
Like Draymond.
Pete, do you have a prediction here on this Dallas game?
Well, I would say that the Lions would have a chance to beat Dallas if Dallas would be able to clinch the division, but the NFC East right now is loaded because of, they're battling Philadelphia. If they were able to clinch the division, before they played the Lions, I'd say the Lions would win because they're going to start resting players. But since they're in a dogfight with Philadelphia Eagles, I really have concerns about the Lions with the victory. It's going to be a high-scoring game between those two teams. So as long as the Lions, that game will come down to Jared Goff's performance, believe it or not.
Versus that defense.
So it depends which Jared Goff you get, but that'll be the key for the Lions to beat Dallas. As of right now, that's a loss for the Lions.
Jalen?
Ass whooping.
Wow.
By who?
God, the Lions, baby. Let's go. I love that energy, Jalen.
I'm not even joking. Like, we'd have to play perfect. I feel like we'd have to play like perfect because they're the hottest team in football right now. If they don't have to play, like you said, like the starters and whatnot, cool. But if they're like at full strength, we're going to have to play perfect because I said this. I just don't think we win that game. We may lose. Make it close. But like, if they're at full strength and we're not locked in, I mean, like when we what game? Like the Chiefs game, I think that was, or whatever game we had the best game. Then when the Raiders game, I guess you can say, if we're not like 95% locked in, we're gonna get our ass whipped on like in AT&T. I'm not joking.
Yeah, no, they're
no disrespect, but it's just like
no, they're playing. They're undefeated at home this year. They're playing as good as anybody in the league. This is a tough Dallas Cowboys team. I had this circled as a win earlier in the season. I don't anymore right now. I hope that changes over the next 2 weeks. That we see some inspired football of the Lions. But as it stands right now, Dallas is great. So we'll go on a break. We'll come back.
We're going to come back to Ben. We're going to talk
Benny Johnson.
Let's make a little audible. Let's go Ben Johnson for the next 2 segments.
I love it. But let me tell you first about Feldman Chevrolet, because since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, first-class car buying experience. They call it the Feldman Advantage. They have over 18 locations, actually exactly 18 locations. So there's got to be a dealership in your backyard. Just visit feldmanauto.com and catch Woodward Sports there every other Monday at their Novi location. They are Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer, Feldman. Booner.
And then Let's talk about a great defense. That is Guardian Alarm. They have customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians, they take the time to recommend security and automation solutions that are specific to your needs. Guardian Alarm has 24/7 professional monitoring. Give them a call anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian Alarm team member, they will stay on the phone as long as needed. They have technology that is backed by people, where your safety and security deserves technology that has been proven to work and people have been proven to care. Make sure that number right there for a great defense, make sure you give that number a call. It is 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White and Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has provided Michigan's finest hotels, casinos, and resorts. Hotels, casinos, restaurants. Of course they provide restaurants. Prime beef, dry-aged beef, Wagyu beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Just visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods. They got delicious grab-and-go steaks, or you can order online at fairwaypacking.com.
All right, welcome back into Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys tuning in here. This has been a fun show. We've talked a lot of Detroit Lions, but I think it's very, very well needed too, because I know we did the college football stuff yesterday, but today it just feels like going into this game. I don't know why. It just feels like one of the biggest games of the year today.
Yeah, and we've all been at each other's necks, like
Yes.
everybody, and just to hear a perspective from outside the city limits.
Monday felt like a little situation to where it was like Lions fan. It was like The Purge.
Emotions have been running wild today.
Yeah. So
it's all week.
Today's felt a little more calm.
Parker turned me around. Let's break it down tomorrow. Some of Parker's points. It was good stuff.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great idea. Let's do this. A couple more minutes here. We're behind on breaks. We'll push a couple things back here and kind of get things going. Let's talk about Ben Johnson, though, because he did speak to the media today. And he said a couple different things. I mentioned to you guys earlier, the biggest things I think everyone wants to know about this whole Lions offense. Number one, the offensive line. That's something that they've had 9 different combinations, and they're going to potentially 10 on 13, 14 games already, which is insane. And that's supposed to be one of the best parts of your team. Number 2, this is a big one. Ben Johnson spoke about this. We keep talking about spreading the ball around. Jamison Williams, why isn't he getting the ball? Someone did ask today, is Ben Johnson's play, does he call plays based on if guys drop balls, if interceptions to certain guys, just different mistakes that are made by certain guys, how he adjusts to doing play calls during that. And the last thing too that he did speak about that I really loved is he did speak on Jared Goff and these turnovers and how he calls plays based on Jared Goff's turnovers. He may have said Jared Goff is still elite. I'm just gonna throw that out there. We're gonna do that one next segment. This one, I just want to talk about the offensive line real quick, Broder. The mixing and the matching and this and that. Like, The O-line has been your main piece so far this season. That has been your bread and butter. You trust on your O-line. Every single time a PFF graphic comes out, Detroit Lions offensive line, number one. The last 3 or 4 weeks, guess what? They have dropped 2, 3. Like, it has been very noticeable because guys have been in and out, hurt, and you've been struggling with it. And that's where you start seeing turnovers. You start seeing, you're not scoring 30 points a game. The run game, it's still at a higher level, but it's not at that next level where you're seeing D-Mont go rush for 120. You're seeing Jahmyr Gibbs rush for 80, 90. Like, that has been the change here. Ben Johnson spoke about the 2 biggest things. One, what's going on with this offensive line. His play calling. He did say, he's like, I base my play calling on how that offensive line's been playing recently. Yeah. And that's fair, because if you guys are blocking, you need to make sure a guy like Colby Sorsdale, if he's in there and he's struggling, you can't go to him. And then all these combinations. So I do have a video here, Ben Johnson just breaking down this offensive line, talking about the different combinations and talking about play calling when it comes to some of this offensive line kind of taking a little step back.
I don't know that, to be honest with you. I think if you end up being too conservative and sheltered, then you're not really attacking the defense at all levels, and the results won't be quite what you like. So, truth be told, that's not something. Listen, Jared's going to throw interceptions occasionally, and I know he's going to bounce back from them too. He'll come back and he'll play his best football normally coming off those interceptions. So I'm not worried about that. I've been with him now for 2.5 years. I know how he responds to that type of adversity. 4th and 10, that's a tough situation. He's trying to make a play. End of the game, we get a 4th and long. Same thing. He's trying to make a play. Those are ones we can live with. And truth be told, I've been around quarterbacks that'll turn down those types of throws because they're trying to help their stats. But he's playing the situation. He's playing ball, and he knows that in order to make a play, he's going to have to put the ball in a little bit of jeopardy. So I respect that, and I think his teammates respect that too.
At all? I mean, is he still playing at the high level that we thought he was earlier this year? Do you see Jared that is?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he is still playing at a high level. You look at the interceptions over the last 4 weeks, and like I said, some of them were the 4th downs early on. We had a couple, like Laporta runs into the safety, gets thrown off his route, ends up being a pick. So some of those happen, and then a couple of them that he wants back. So that's the nature of the business. And he's been really good over the last 1.5 years taking care of that football. We don't want him to lose his aggressiveness when it comes to throwing the football. 4th and 3 is a good example of that. He finds DPJ for a huge play on 4th and 3 last week, and that's about as tight of a window that you could throw it into. So we don't ever want him to lose that.
That play.
All right, you guys heard Ben there. That one right there, he's talking about Jared Goff, the trust of Jared Goff when these turnovers happen. And on top of that, I don't know if you guys heard him at the end there. And this has been the thing, and we're going to kind of go off the offensive line here for a second. We're going to talk Jared Goff. This is at the very end where he says we don't want Jared Goff to stop being aggressive just because he's throwing interceptions. That's something we don't want to happen. And it feels like, and he said it there, he's like, Jared's still playing at an elite level. Some of the plays he's making is at elite level. I think there's this narrative out there, and I get the Ducks and the heavies talk about the Ducks, and they love putting that narrative out there. But for your OC, and I know he has to say good things about his quarterback, but the confidence level, if you watch that interview and you want to look me in the face and say that they still don't have confidence that Jared Goff is an elite quarterback, and you see CJ Gardner-Johnson go out there and protect his quarterback on Twitter, and you see him literally say, I don't care if he throws interceptions because he's being aggressive, and we don't want that to change. At some point, yes, we can sit here and people can flip-flop on Jared Goff, do this, do that. At some point, you see Ben Johnson approach the media and say, Jared is still playing at an elite level. Yes, he's had turnovers. Yes, he's doing this. But he's still out there and making plays. You're still 4-2 in the last 6 games. And CJ Gardner-Johnson, a guy on the other side of the ball who knows that Jared Goff's the leader, goes out there to protect the quarterback on Twitter. There is still a lot of faith left in this room in Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff, like, this is a little sample size of what he does.
Yeah.
Because remember, he had 14 or 13 or whatever it was straight games with no interception. He almost broke the NFL record for completions or pass attempts without an interception right there with Tom Brady. So I still have faith he could turn around this narrative out there, and I think the narrative comes from people not wanting to pay him $50 million. That's out the window. Let's stop talking about money when it comes to this guy.
And it's just a different conversation.
It is.
Like, he can still be playing well, and you can still not give him 50. Like I'm not in the boat of giving 50, and I support Jared Goff. What I see out of Ben Johnson though, there's urgency mixed in with trust and confidence in his quarterback. He sees Jared Goff do things, not just. I don't think he's been playing elite football the last couple days, and that might have been a stretch.
He still can.
But yes, he definitely still can. He's been doing the things. There's so much that goes into being a quarterback to helping your team win. He's doing a lot of things, most of the things at an elite level, and he's still making several passes on the dime. Like you referenced the one to Donovan Peoples-Jones on 4th and 3 that was an absolute dart on the dime. The ball doesn't come out very well every time, but he's one of the accurate, if not the most accurate quarterback in the league. So there's a lot he's doing good. He's got to clean up the turnovers. He's got to not stop being aggressive, but take care of the ball. Take care of the ball. I'm not talking about the turnovers on 4th down. It's the kind of boneheaded interceptions that's, man, I should have had that one back. But no, keep chucking it. He's got faith in Jared Goff. Jared Goff, the season lives and dies with Jared Goff. So we either get on that train or we get off it.
Last thing here, Chef. Chef, you know I love you too, and I saw your Twitter video on Twitter. I'll get to that after the show when we get off air here. But he said, would you rather have Jared Goff or Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen? Like 100%, you would rather have one of those guys. That's 100%. But those guys don't just come out of nowhere. You can't just go into this draft and say, I'm going to go get the next Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to go get Josh Allen. You don't just find those guys. Hendon Hooker, if you want to say, oh, well, you have Hendon Hooker, tell me where you guarantee he's going to be one of those guys. Look me dead in the eyes and say, you guarantee he's going to be Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes next year. That won't happen. In the NFL, there's guys all the time who get drafted number 1, number 2, number 3, top 5, top 10, and they don't make it. Majority of the time, guess what? The percentages, they don't make it. So if we're looking at percentages here, that Hendon Hooker might not be the answer. I still think you try it out.
Yeah.
If Jared's going to ask for $50 million, then maybe say, hey, Jared, guess what? We have Hendon Hooker. You have another year with us, then we're going to take a look at Hendon Hooker, and that's going to be the way we move. But the narrative to where we're about to win a division title and you're about to go to the playoffs and your quarterback at one point in the last season threw 10 straight games with no interceptions, and the only complaint you have right now is he's had a handful of interceptions the last 3 or 4 games, and 2 of the interceptions, every single person who's talked about it said it's on 4th down. We want him to make those plays. We don't care if he throws those interceptions. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Pete, you had something?
Yeah, just real quick. We talked about this on Armani and Edwards with Maz, 2 to 4 here on Woodward Sports.
Shout
Monday
out.
through Friday.
Plug.
Since week 7, Jared Goff has had 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 6 fumbles, and then the final stat goes to your point, Booner, 15 sacks. That O-line has to do better. And so, like you said, it doesn't matter about Hendon Hooker. It matters on the O-line protecting the quarterback. The 15 sacks, killers.
Yeah, and I think it's like the O-line. Like if you go look at some of these turnovers outside of like those 4th down ones, some of that he just instantly pressure, and that's where you can look back where the offensive line could struggle a little bit.
The biggest investment on the team, the most expensive offensive line in the league. They didn't put money into Goff. They didn't put money into the defense. They didn't put much money into the defense, the backfield or the wide receivers yet. They put it into the offensive line. We need them, and we need them to be healthy. Let me tell you about Mark White. Because if you're dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch, Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right. I said $5,000. So call Mark White and Associates today or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today, 248-290-8242 to make true.
What dreams are those? Yeah, what dreams are those? The hot chick that's always in my head?
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Just in time for football. Cannabis is dropping a new ice water bubble hash infused pre-roll called Honolulu Blue. It smells so good, it's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. It's a gassy, aggressive strain named in the honor of Detroit football. If you haven't had one of these ice water pre-rolls, you are missing out. So smooth. Find them at Dispo Dispensary for 25% off or check them out online at www.canna.com.
Welcome back in. It is Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder on the Woodward Sports Network. If you're on woodwardsports.com, appreciate you tuning in. If you're on the YouTube page, make sure you guys hit that like button for us. Let's get these likes up. I have to refresh here because my computer, something's going on with it the last day. We're at 80 likes right now. Let's get up to 100 here. We're going to do about 5 minutes here. We'll go to break again, and we'll do about 5 or so minutes of mailbag so you guys can get some questions in as well. Last thing I want to talk about here with Ben Johnson, though, one of the questions I think with JMO and kind of getting the ball is we don't really all get to see practices, and we don't get to see I know when preseason I went to the training camp and he dropped a couple passes when I was at. I don't know what's going on with that, if there's something on the back end, and even when you're looking at guys like getting Jahmyr Gibbs more involved. The question here that some reporters are asking today is to Ben Johnson, do you base these play calls basically off when guys make mistakes? And that's one of the biggest things is if guys make mistakes, are we going away from them? Because they have so many different weapons. And that was actually something you talked to me about today, Broder.
Yeah, and maybe we talk about that in more detail tomorrow. Just, is it too many weapons? And I don't say that, well, yeah, I do say it in a negative way. Is there too many mouths to feed? I still believe Ben Johnson's this mastermind offensive coordinator, but man, that wide receiver room got deep all of a sudden. And with the emergence of Jamison Williams, and we want him to get the ball, we've seen him take strides, and we're just disappointed he's not getting more. I wonder what goes into this. It seemed like that Chicago game is almost a perfect game to get him involved, but he didn't. So it was really interesting to hear Ben Johnson talk about dealing with that. And although he didn't answer that question exactly, we got a little look behind the curtain for him, and it was
how he works.
Yeah, he gave us some action.
Yep. So Jen, did you have that video here about Ben Johnson? Guys make mistakes. Here's kind of Ben Johnson talking about that.
I boil my job down to two things. One is getting guys in a favorable position. All right. So can we get our skill guys in space with the ball to do something with it, or help them get open in their route running? And then up front, we already talked about in protection, can we get favorable matchups or double teams for them to pass protect, or the angles in the run game? And so that's the first thing I look at when you evaluate the film. Last week there's a couple third down plays where, man, there's not a lot of good answers there for the quarterback. And so that's where I got to take it. We try to minimize those as a coaching staff each and every week.
All right, you guys saw it there, and I think, too, and the best point there is kind of just putting the guys in the right positions to succeed. And that probably makes some people mad because they're like, why aren't you putting JMO in the right positions to succeed? Which I do agree with. You still have to find a way to do that. But that's when it comes down to, if I'm just theory, tinfoil hat Booner here, Jamison Williams, we saw preseason dropping passes, right? Maybe he's doing that in practice right now. That's why you're seeing them set up for the end arounds. Maybe some of these deep balls, because those are the ones that he's been successful on. And I know a lot of people want to see these short routes from him, these slants, these different things. And maybe that's stuff in practice that he's dropped, because we've seen him drop those in games. Live action, we've seen that. So maybe, and to Ben's point there, it's we just want to get every single guy in the positions that make him the most successful. Yes. And that to hear that's how he kind of goes about this offense. And he said it earlier this year that he has a whole playbook for each guy, different play sets for each guy. So it's interesting to me, and kind of pulling back the curtain, like you said, Broder, on how he works when he kind of looks at some of these things here. Yeah,
if this is JMO and this is the rest of the playbook, I just want to see this go up a little higher.
Yeah, I want to see that higher on the list.
I totally get. There's got to be some reason. I just can't imagine he's practicing that bad, and I can't imagine someone as smart as Ben Johnson can't figure out how to get the ball in his hands without throwing him in. Like, you just got to find a way. He's too much of a weapon. He's too athletic. He's too fast, and that's what the Lions have lacked the last couple games. So
I don't know what it is. I had this conversation with Easy at one point. I'm like, I don't know. Like, there has to be something going on that we don't know about for the reason like he only gets one target in a game. I don't know. I don't know if it's the offensive line. Maybe they can't get the ball to him fast enough. We did see that deep shot to him. Goff had 1 second pressure, and he's trying to throw off that back foot when he already doesn't have the strongest arm. And he doesn't have the time.
I don't like those plays.
Me either. And that's where it's like I don't know what the situation is with J-Mo. Like, they haven't, like, I know Jalen's been a bit big on it too, getting him in these short routes. Maybe it's the things where he has been, like, that's where I get to where it's like the reason they're not doing it. Maybe he's just dropping those in practice, and it's like you need to gain the trust, because those are the exact passes he's dropped. He dropped in preseason, and he dropped when you were at training, like I was at training camp. He wasn't dropping those deep ones. It was those short, quick routes. So, but they have tried it, and he's dropped them early in the year. So that's where it's like maybe that's why Ben's like, maybe we don't want to go back to that. I don't know.
At first you don't succeed, try again.
Yeah, and why not?
Yeah, but if you keep trying and you keep missing it, then you're going to keep losing.
Said it best. You got to try again, bro.
But remember that one play where they put Penei Sewell out on the edge, and I think they threw a screen to Amon-Ra behind Penei, who was lined up almost like a wide receiver. Like, why couldn't that have been J-Mo? Just put him behind Penei, feel nice and safe. The best offensive lineman in the league. We'll see.
Hey, one of the funniest, Kobe's here, said J-Mo needs to run slower so Goff can get him the ball.
There's a timing issue.
Haven't heard that one yet.
There's a timing original, but there is a timing. That is part of it. A timing issue. They got to get on the same page, and his arm can't reach J-Mo at full speed. So they got to find a way to do routes. And we saw Khalif Raymond in that Packers game last year, where he hit him about 45 yards deep on a dime in cold weather, rolling out to the other side. It was a longer developing route by Khalif, where they had timing, they could figure it out, and Jared Goff threw it perfectly. So they got to figure it out.
All right, let's hit break. When we come back, we'll do mailbag here. We'll go maybe 6 or 7 minutes, and we'll end the show here. Nick, tell us about it.
Yes, sir. Planet Fitness is a home of the judgment-free zone, where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all this for just $10 a month, no commitment. Check out Planet Fitness, where fitness is essential.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Outdoor Equipment Company, let's talk about it. It is the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports Network, Michigan grown, family owned. Bad boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, and even weed whippers. They have everything you need. Liberty trailers, Generac generators, snow X-Balls, and salters. Outdoor Equipment Company, they have it all. You can buy it, you can rent it, 0% financing, delivery right to your doorstep. That is over at OutdoorEquipCo.com. All right, final stretch of the show here at Woodward Sports Network. It is Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. Appreciate everyone joining us here on a beautiful Wednesday night. We are going to get this thing rolling here, though. Make sure, if you guys can, real quick, we're this close to 100 likes. We are right there. We are 13 likes away. If you're watching the show right now, have not hit the like button, everyone hit that like button so we can get to 100 here and push this show out. Let's start mailbag, though, Broder.
Yes.
Let's do it here.
Freddie Felt. We'll go non-football for 1 second. Mailbag, favorite Christmas song. I'm going to go classic. You go so many different directions. The first thing that popped in my head when I saw this, remember the song All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth.
Is that really?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear, like, I have to work on enunciating my words. Sometimes there's a little, I don't know if it's a lisp or a speech impediment or something, but I don't know, I just always loved that little kid, like, whistling the song when I was growing up. So
I just like the Mariah Carey, all I want. Just that, I think that's just like it gets me in my Christmas mood.
Had to get surgery on my front teeth when I was a young buck, so that one hit home as well, Broder.
You all had a little gap?
What? No, it was a massive gap.
Love it.
Yeah, one of my teeth never came down. Shout out, baby. Yeah, let's go.
What about you, John?
Boys to Men, Let It Snow. You know?
Wow.
Real classy.
Let
Get
it
some
snow.
hot chocolate with the lady, you know. Make a gingerbread house. Get real cozy, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Will I be able to find what a gingerbread house is on UrbanDictionary.com, or are you literally talking gingerbread house?
Pro all day.
Gotta be.
I see you. I see you. Next.
I've got at least 2 here that I want to answer.
Yeah.
Chef, I lost it. Where is it at? Chef had a good one here about JMO. Oh, here it goes. Mailbag. Was Ben Johnson's answer regarding JMO anything more than coach speak? Are you confident that he's going to do what he said and put JMO in the right position to get him the ball? See, this is where I do think there's going to be a time where he does it. He has done it like you've seen him do it in positions. Like he's got the ball in the end zone multiple times. Like he's put him in those positions. It's not about if he can put him in the positions. It's about doing it more often. That's what it's about. Like we've seen him do it. We've seen him get end around touchdowns. We saw it last year in limited snaps. We saw him get the ball deep. Like we saw a couple slants this year and him get a little 8-9 yards and get tackled. Like we've seen it. It's about how many more times will he do it. That's the main question to me. And Chef can't answer that question because Ben didn't. Like I'm hoping it's at least 4 or 5 times in the next few weeks.
Yeah. Well said.
Another one here too. Eric Burrow, mailbag. Can you explain why extending Goff is good for the team?
I don't know if it is yet. I mean, there are
a lot of factors.
Yeah, hypothetically, if you get him to the perfect contract, he's a veteran quarterback who can lead a team. But if we're talking the type of contract that he's probably expected to get, I don't have a reason for you yet. Yeah. I need to see a playoff win. I need to see the real wins, the big wins, before you can commit to Jared Goff for long term or for too much money to build an offensive line.
There's so many different factors too when you kind of break. At least when I break it down, it's like the money is to me number one. Hendon Hooker, like you do want to see what he's like a little bit. So maybe that's where it's like the extension has to wait a little bit longer so you can see.
In Hendon Hooker, when you think about it, it's probably I don't know if best is the right word, but easiest option to replace him because he's in-house. He's good at all the things Jared Goff is limited at, but there's still so much that goes into being a quarterback, and he'll be on a cheap contract.
And do you know what the biggest thing of them all is? This is what I want to see. Playoff success.
Yes.
I know the defense isn't great or not, but what does he do these next 4 games, and what does he do when he has a playoff game in Detroit?
Yeah.
I've said that all along. Is a couple months ago when I said extend Goff, because I thought at the time they were 7-2. I thought they were going to go on a little playoff run, and I was like, if Goff wants, if the
Extend
Detroit
him right
Lions,
now.
yeah, because in my opinion at that time I was like, the Lions are going to win 2 or 3 games in the playoffs. They're going to have a chance at the Super Bowl, and you're going to have to pay Jared Goff a ton of money. So at that point I was like, hey, Detroit Lions, sign him now because you can get him cheaper. But as things have gone on and you've lost some games, he's turned the ball over. Depending on what he does in the playoffs, it's gonna tell you a lot. It's gonna tell you a lot. So, all right, that'll be it for us here. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in here as always. A little Wednesday night. It was fun. Shout out to Parker there, Denver Broncos beat reporter over there for the Denver Post.
Parker J. Gabriel at Twitter and Threads.
Yes.
DenverPost.com/Broncos.
Appreciate you guys tuning in, though. We will be back tomorrow. We're going to talk some more Denver Broncos. You know what, Lorena, I saw the kind of chat in there, Tyler Chauvet. I'm going to put a Red Wings segment at some point tomorrow in the prep. We're going to talk a little Red Wings for you tomorrow. So we're going to do that, and we will make sure you guys tune in. Morning Woodward Show, 8 a.m. BDE right after E&E with Pete. Make sure you guys tune in 2 to 4 tomorrow. Don't want to miss out on that. Pete will be on that show. Heavyweights to follow, and then we will be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. sharp. Don't miss it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys.
Toodles, my cheese.